Hello, welcome back to my channel, my astrology friends. We are now here because I'm gonna bring in this Saturn video, but this is a very specific and special video about Saturn. It's not the typical. This is mostly from ancient astrology and Kabbalistic. So explains what Saturn and the energy of Saturn in our natal chart bring us as a mastery. So, and basically that we have also four, not just one, four masteries to attain in a form of a higher consciousness to evolve in our natal chart. Because Saturn as a planet that rules the sign of Capricorn, so you have to observe both in your natal chart, Saturn as a planet and the position of Capricorn, the sign, but also Aquarius and Uranus, because before the three transpersonal planets were discovered, Aquarius was ruled by Saturn. So it's important that you observe these four positions: Saturn, Uranus, Capricorn, and Aquarius in your natal chart. And if those energies that I'm gonna read now, house by house, is the energy of Saturn, but you have to refer it as a Uranus in Aquarius as well. Um, it resonates with you. Okay, so I explore it in my own natal chart and on my clients, and it works that way. And it goes by percentage, so just give it a try. And so this video is about the four masteries of the energy of Saturn in our natal chart. So basically, tell me in which house do you have Saturn, Uranus, Capricorn, and Aquarius, and I will tell you what type of mastery you have come to fulfill in this lifetime. Okay? So we're going to start now with Saturn and the position of the first house, disregarding any sign. We are talking about houses. Okay? So the energy of Saturn, let's say you have Saturn, again, I'm going to explain to you if you have Saturn, the planet, you have Uranus, the planet, or you have Capricorn in the first house or Aquarius in the first house. So we're going to move with this information around the whole wheel of the astrological natal chart, and you're going to decode it in your own natal chart. Okay, so let's start. Saturn in the first house. From a very young age, you have learned to sustain yourself and become your own support. It's possible that you had a distorted reflection of who you are or were when you were young, or since you were young. Therefore, due to that distorted self-image, it took you a considerable effort to build or rebuild yourself. Saturn here in this position teaches you that your value do not depend from an external approval. This is key, okay? So you must avoid limiting yourself to depend nor count with or from any type of external approval of your very own image. The only one allowed to accept who you really are is you, yourself, and you. No more nor less. Your mature soul will recognize this statement once you learn to respect yourself and to trust your very own and unique rhythm, and to transform the self-demand into self-auto-affirmation and self-value. So your mastery with Saturn in the first house is to become the adult that your inner child needs. That way you are providing the right support to the right sense of protection and safety, and the exact amount of reassurance to your wounded inner child that he or she is more than enough. Okay? It's greatly valuable, and it's magnificent just the way he or she is. Talking about speaking your inner child, so you. Saturn in this position also exposed that you are the most important, and you are the most valuable, and you are as great as you can be just the way you are. So embrace it. Embrace yourself. Saturn in the second house. Saturn in this position exposed that you have learned the material value from scarcity. Perhaps you felt since a very young age, by the program you received from your parents, that you were unworthy or did not deserve Or maybe that everything related to love and security could only be gained by effort and pain. But Saturn here in the second house doesn't want to punish you. Saturn wants you to embrace into self-discovery journey of finding out that you have the inner power of creating your own self-balance within you. Looking within yourself and no more. Okay? So your mastery here consists in comprehending that your self-value does not rely nor get measured but your possessions, nor material wealth, but in your inner force, your inner strength, something much more powerful and valuable that nobody could possibly take away from you. Because Saturn in the second house tells you and everybody that you are a powerful being. Okay? This is the message from Saturn and the energy of Saturn. And the second, as I said, either Capricorn, Uranus, or Aquarius, or Saturn's planet itself. Now, let's continue with Saturn in the third house. And Saturn here in the third house says that your mind has been your own training field, like in the military forces. Maybe you grew up biting up your tongue to avoid making any mistake, or feeling that your ideas had no space nor place to be heard. But Saturn here is telling you out loud that the voice can only mature when it breaks the walls of silence and fear. So your mastery is to communicate with profound thoughts that holds the power to transform each word into a bridge, and to use your knowledge like a powerful conscious tool, because you must understand and remember that your voice isn't meant to be agreeable, not to amuse others, but to awaken them. Okay? So it's something that you can use it wisely or lose it. That's it. This is the message of the energy of Saturn and the third house. Now, Saturn in the fourth house. This is a very intense placement because Saturn here is in the natal house of the moon, and the moon is our unconscious emotional system. Emotionally wise, we all move from our moon. So tell me your moon and I'll tell you how do you feel and what do you like or how you are as a lover. Anyway, I have a complete video about this topic that you can watch if it's from your interest. Okay, about the moon and what the moon likes and dislikes. Anyhow, let's get back to Saturn in the fourth. We have been caring with Saturn in the fourth. It says that we have been carrying over our shoulders and back like a huge burlap sack, a burden of familiar stories that do not belong, nor correspond to us or to you at all. Those familiar stories belong to your family from origin, mother, father, grandparents, great-grandparents, etc. Those stories can go from the fourth past generation and even from the seventh generation if the burden is way too heavy or dense. But none of these belong nor correspond to you, and you need to attain consciousness of this to understand that. You were the one who supported, sustained them, okay, or cared, or had to silence to prevail or avoid others to get disturbed or to get broken, to chatter. So, however your soul chose, your soul basically chose this path of burden to be able to learn how to build your inner home, your inner refuge, away from all that chaos. But Saturn here teaches you to mature, not to close yourself, nor to harden your heart, but to heal your very own wound of belonging or not belonging So you can generate within you a very safe and secure emotional base from love and never from obligation or the sense of or the sense of uh, believe that it's an obligation, okay? Because you're free to choose otherwise consciously. So your mastery is to develop and become that secure space within you that you can feel, where you can feel and call it inner refuge. That the refuge that did not have when you did not have when you were younger, and you needed the most. You were more most vulnerable during childhood. Okay, so here with Saturn and the fourth, and saying that this placement of Saturn tells you that you haven't chosen that path in this life to grow takes me to the book Your Soul's Plan, by the way, written by Robert Schwartz. If you haven't read it, you may like it and find it very useful, valuable, interesting to understand certain situations in this life, in our lives, where we put the constant question mark, like asking why all the time. Well, the question is not why, is what's the reason for this in my life. So I leave it to you here if you want to Google it. It's the book is called again Your Soul's Plan, and it's written by Robert Schwartz. Anyway, it's a really nice book. Now we're gonna continue with Saturn, or the energy of Saturn, like I said before, in the fifth house. And Saturn here tells you that your innate creative force born among fears and judgments and prejudice. Perhaps you fear to do something that could possibly brutalize yourself, or you were programmed to believe that, to fear that. You also fear to be unsuccessful or not to be enough to shine, okay? But Saturn here in this placement teaches you that true authenticity cannot be just improvised. Instead, it must be built up. So Saturn tells you that your soul will mature once you learn to enjoy without guilt or guilt tripping or out of self-sabotage, no remorse. And once you learn to create without fear nor masks, okay, that way you'll become truly authentic. You become yourself. So your mastery with this placement of Saturn in the fifth house is to express your light, your inner light, yes, with responsibility and joy, knowing that the enjoyment is also sacred and you deserve to enjoy everything consciously, okay, in this awakened life. So that's the message. Saturn in the sixth house. Okay, Saturn here transforms any routinary action into a temple. So you learn that to be disciplined in life isn't a punishment, but a form of love incarnated into every action you do. So you must love everything you do, and on daily basis, where your body, your personal habits, and any sort of job you do are key points showing you those areas where you get lost, possibly, where you abandon yourself, and where you impose self-demand. Um, so it also tells you that your evolution comes along when you understand that to serve others doesn't mean to be nor become submissive, a servant of others, but to simply offer the best of you from your own equilibrium, from your own balance, keeping and maintaining your own balance. Okay, so your mastery here is to transform any duty into a higher purpose and any routine into a personal conscious ritual. Okay, so it has to be something that you love to do because it's the house of doing things, the sixth. But it has to be with a higher purpose, not just to to do it for no no higher meaning than doing something or making money, for instance, as an example. Okay, guys. Saturn in the seventh house. Okay, Saturn in this placement, which corresponds to the vincular axis in the natal chart of Libra and the sign of Aries, and the other side, the opposite, a sign that holds a scale, Libra, but not because portrays the balance, okay, the innate balance. So Libra is always looking, searching for balance. So, on contraire, that most people think that Libra is a balanced zodiac sign, it's not. It's searching for that balance. So this is the constantly aiming sign of finding, looking to find that balance in its relations. So this Saturn placement talks about your relationships, right? Where Saturn says that all your relationships have shown you your deepest wounds, like abandonment, maybe rejection, neglected, indifference, dependency, humiliation, manipulation, etc., etc., etc. You mention it, okay? So Saturn here teaches you that true and sincere love has nothing to do with the mental program or limited belief of getting lost, getting lost into the other's desire, losing yourself and your own essence, aiming for a false perception, and belief that love means to forget about your own self, to melt and blend into someone else's desires. Um, Saturn here instead teaches you that through love means to find your own through the other one, to reconfirm your essence and desires. And it also says that your soul will mature once you learn to set and establish clear, healthy boundaries and to maintain any type of relation, not just relationships as in a caring, loving way, but just any relation, just with your presence, and to recognize that loneliness can also be a teacher. Okay? So your mastery is to build relationships where all commitments are based on mutual respect and never, never, ever by fear. Okay? Now, guys, Saturn in the 8th house, but like I said before, Uranus, Aquarius, um, Capricorn. Saturn here reveals that you have transited the darkest night of the soul since a very young age. You have experienced losses, crises, deaths, mournings, all sorts of obscure situations that had emptied you, leave you empty, or the sense of feeling of emptiness from inside out. But you must understand that what it seems to be a destruction um, was a reality. Okay, what's in reality? Sorry, the alchemy of the soul. So it was not just a basic destruction. It was the reality of the alchemy of your soul. Your soul, because Saturn here teaches you that any form or preconception of being in control, it's merely an illusion, and that your true inner power happens when you surrender yourself to those deep processes in transformation, of transformation in transformation. So your mastery is to pass through the darkness, just pass through the darkness, like transiting, okay? Avoiding getting lost in it, and to use your pain as a profound source of wisdom and spiritual power, like the phoenix who reverts many times from its own ashes into anew, regenerating yourself from inside out, mentally and spiritually, okay? This is a super, hyper awesome message here of the energy of Saturn in the 8th house. because the eighth house we know is the house of deep transformation and belongs to Pluto, the planet that rules that eighth house Scorpio sign. Um, but if we have there Capricorn or Saturn or Uranus or Aquarius, it's an enormous energy to transform ourselves there, in that area. Now, Saturn in the ninth house. Okay, let's continue. Now, you've been looking and searching for answers and teachers, masters, gurus, all sorts of religions, sorry, uh, beliefs and practices on travels also and philosophies, maybe from a very, very young age, etc. Just until you realize that all that external wisdom you've been searching for outside of yourself has always lived within you. You are your own and your very own great master. And you are the teacher. You are the guru. You are the alchemist. You come from past lives to be from being a higher priestess or priest, a higher consciousness being. Okay, you are an awakened soul. Actually, you're born awakened with the placement of Saturn in the ninth. So Saturn here invites you to structure your faith and to transform your experiences into higher knowledge that you can share with others. You are the innate teacher. You're a natural teacher here, but mostly as a ancient master, ancient priest or higher priestess. Okay, from past lives. Your soul will mature when you start teaching others from your own experience and from all those hard situations that you have lived on your skin rather than those things you've read in books. Okay, so your mastery is to walk and transit by your own truth with humility and to transform any doubts into clear vision because the laws uh, of Saturn here in this ninth house, which belongs to the sign of Sagittarius and ruled by Jupiter, lies within you. You just need to look inwards because you're a powerful, powerful being. Okay? Remember that only the most broken ones will be most evolved. And this is the great message of Saturn in the ninth house. Night gauss, Saturn in the 10. Okay, from a very young age, you felt the heavy weight of other people's expectations and the urge to accomplish something. But Saturn here doesn't want you to work anymore. Instead, Saturn in this position wants for you to work for something more meaningful, forgetting what the others want you to work on to fulfill their own selfish expectations of those preset conceptions based on their limited beliefs, from all generations, maybe, Saturnian, so to speak. Your evolution would take place once you start letting go that preset image and start embracing full coherence between your mind, your thoughts, and your desires. What you truly want, not what others want for you. Coherence between what you say and what you do, and do it with pleasure, knowing consciously that is meaningful for you, and that's what only matters. Okay, knowing that for you, your mastery is to transform yourself in a vivid example of integrity and to be able to leave your true mark, your own blueprint through your honest vocation and inner maturity. Okay, guys? Now, Saturn in the 11th house, um, you felt different, out of place, uncomprehended, an outcast, a misfit, a weirdo. But that sensation that you had for decades within yourself was the only way that your soul had chosen to remember in this life that that came to build your own path. You came basically to build your own path out of that weirdo sensation or misfit or outcast sensation, uncomprehended one. Your very unique path where you feel belonging. Okay, Saturn here teaches you to use your singularity to serve a higher purpose, your very own higher purpose. So your mastery is to build a community alike, to manifest collective dreams, and to sustain and develop structure common ideas, and not just ideas, but ideals in common. You are the one who entertain, maybe not entertain, but in, intertwine, bond, unite others like you through conscious vision. Yeah, through your conscious vision. Yeah, that's the word. So this is a very special mission for the 11th house, who is actually ruled by Uranus. It belongs to Aquarius, so it has a lot with the nature of the sign and the planet and it itself. Now, Saturn in the 12th house, it says that your soul had to learn through sacrifice, through loneliness or confusion. But Saturn here doesn't punish, instead purifies. Saturn teaches you to surrender without surrendering, to believe and trust the invisible, the intangible forces of the universe, and to heal all old karmic patterns. Your mastery is to transform all sorrow, all pain into compassion, to transform fear into faith, and to transform yourself into an open channel of silent wisdom. Your inner strength cannot be seen, but it can be felt. It is that aura or higher vibration of inner peace and tranquility that only a great survivor can possess, because you have survived everything so far by your own merit. Okay, this is what Saturn is telling you here. So this is basically the position of the survival, and it's, I think it's as strong as in the ninth house. Yeah, basically, it's really deep, the message of Saturn here. All right, guys, these are the decoded higher messages and the deep meanings of our Saturnian energies by house placements. Now remember that all these applies to Saturn as a planet itself, Capricorn as a sign, and to Uranus and Aquarius as well in our natal chart. So because the traditional ruler of Aquarius, like I said before, was Saturn until modern transpersonal planets were discovered. So just explore these placements, the energy of Saturn along your natal chart, and see how you feel it. Okay, if that message resonates with you and your own stories. Anyways, own them. If yes, own them with pride and work it out for your personal and spiritual growth. Okay, perfect. Remember the book I mentioned, if you're interested, Your Soul's Plan, and if you're interested, is by I said Schwartz, I think it was the last name. Let me check. Yeah, the last name was Schwartz. Anyways, you can rewind. I don't know where I wrote it. All right, thanks all for being here, and once again, all the best. Until the next time. Bye bye.